Alright guys, welcome back to another video. I'm not even going to say anything this time because I've done this intro 3 times already now and just fucking up and I fucked up my intro 3 times. But yeah, so I forgot Miss Marvel kind of came out, the finale kind of came out yesterday. Now you guys are probably confused why I forgot about it. It's a Marvel show. You guys know I love Marvel. That's because I haven't really enjoyed the show, so you probably already know what I'm gonna give it out a rating. Well, I'm definitely not giving it a 1, so if that's what you think, then no. But I was actually really happy with the finale, though. I watched it today. But the rest of the episodes were kind of mid, if I'm being honest. But I did really like the finale, and there was a really good. I remember there was yeah, wait, okay, yeah, there was a really good plot twist at the end of the finale as well. So I'm gonna be reviewing Miss Marvel today. Also, I forgot about the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I forgot to review that. So I will be reviewing that today as well. So 2 uploads coming out today, and yeah, let's just go straight into it, I guess. You don't have to like or subscribe or hit the little bell if you don't want to, but it'll be much appreciated. Now, I usually do like Miss Marvel in the comics, and if I'm being honest, I do like her in the show. I do like the actor who played her in the show. I actually don't know her name, the actor that plays Miss Marvel, or Kamala Khan, whatever you want to call Miss Marvel. Yeah, I did think she was very good. Just the plot of the whole show was just kind of a little boring. The dialogue was a bit of shit. To be honest, even though I think Miss Marvel was a good character in it, if I'm being completely honest, my favorite 2 characters in this show are literally Kamala Khan's mom and dad. Mostly the dad. The dad was really funny in the show. And I mean, it's not bad to have a favorite character and all, but you should really be rooting or liking the main character more than silly side characters. Cause I should not be liking the dad and the mom more than the main character, if that makes sense. But anyway, Miss Marvel's actor is very good. She is very good. Very good interpretation of Miss Marvel. So yeah. Also, like I said, the Kamala Khan's family are also really good. Like I said, I love the mom and dad, and her brother as well is really good, and her brother's fiance wife now actually because they got married in the show. But yeah, so I really like the family. I really liked the friends as well. Actually, Bruno, he was really fun in it as well. I like Bruno. He's also a gamer in real life. He plays Apex and all. And he even said in an interview that he liked his favorite game of all time was Peak Fortnite way back in Chapter 1, Season 3. But anyway, we're not talking about Fortnite. We're talking about Miss Marvel. So anyway, so yeah, the thing that kind of was made it boring for me was the plot, which is kind of I've still kind of forgotten about the episodes, but I guess we can get into the episodes now. So episode 1, I guess, is about her just living a normal life, I guess. And yeah, so she doesn't really do much superheroing in the first episode. Like, it's just her in school, crushing on boys and all, and going through shit and all with her life or some shit. And she does get the, I can't fucking pronounce it, the fucking bangle. That's what it's fucking called. Actually, wait, yeah, I pronounced that pretty good actually. The bangle, okay. Yeah, anyway, but she gets the bangle which gives her powers from her nanny. That's how she gets her powers in the show. By the way, Marvel have changed her powers in the show. Usually in the comics, she's still able to stretch her arms and all in the show, but in the show she has this purple glow around her and all, and she's able to she's able to step on these things going up in the air and all. If that makes sense. That doesn't make sense at all, probably at all, but she's able to do much more different stuff than she's able to do in the comics, if that makes sense. So, but people are very pissed about that, but I kind of like her new powers, but yeah. So, yeah, so the first episode I don't really have much to talk about because it was only her living her daily basic life. The second episode, she puts on the fucking bangle, and actually, did she fucking put on the bangle? Oh yeah, she did. I think it was. I'm being stupid. Like I said, I've forgotten most of it already, guys. I think it was episode. Okay, no, but episode 2, anyway, I do remember that she got a crush on this boy or something, named Cameron, if I'm pronouncing his name right. and he was like some epic dude doing fucking backflips into pools and all, so it was pretty epic. And yeah, so I'm pretty sure episode 2 is just the same basically as episode 1, if I can remember. I kind of don't, but like episode 1, I'm pretty sure, and 2 is the exact same. So I'm pretty sure in episode 3, Aaron was being stupid. In episode 2, it could have been, she goes to AvengerCon with her friend Bruno, and basically what AvengerCon is, it's like the thing we do in real life, Comic Con. So what Comic Con is in real life is you go to it's a convention where you go and see like people like dress up as like their favorite superheroes or villains. Like for example, like someone might dress up as Batman or Superman or Spider-Man, etc. And then you can also like buy stuff at Comic Con, like comics. You can buy props, toys. You can buy like basically everything related to superheroes and villains. So actually, I'm pretty sure it's not just superheroes, but it doesn't matter. So basically, the Marvel Universe has created their own version of Comic Con, which is called Avengers Con, because of course in the Marvel Universe, superheroes are real. So yeah, you know, because in the real world, superheroes aren't real. But yeah. So Kamala and Bruno go to Avengers Con. I think it was in episode 2 or 3, like I said. And I actually kind of had fun with Avengers Con. It was like really, like it looked really epic for some reason. I don't know why. It just made me feel like I was having a party and I wasn't even there. It was so epic. I loved it. It was like Ant-Man. I saw Ant-Man props and shit like that, and it was just epic. I liked it. And then that's when she found out, and that's when Kamala found out that she had powers because she saved her like the popular girl's life by using her powers and shit like that. And then I'm pretty sure that's the end of episode 3 and on, or it might have been episode 2, I don't even remember. I forgot to mention, by the way, a problem I have with this is it's kind of cartoonish, and usually a Marvel show isn't that cartoonish. It has sometimes cartoonish jokes in it, like, you know, because I guess every movie kind of does, well, not all the time, but like, let's take for example Moon Knight. Moon Knight wasn't childish really at all. It had fucking brutal shit in it, and Miss Marvel is kind of like a childish show. It kind of has shitty dialogue as well. Like there was a bit in episode 5, I'm pretty sure it was, where Miss Marvel was having a fight with one of the Red Daggers, which is like the like a clan thing or cult, I guess you could say. And so yeah, a cringy line they did in episode 5 was like they were jumping around when they were fighting each other, and one of them said, "Wait, where'd you learn how to jump?" Like Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong, and then Miss Marvel responds with, "Where'd you learn how to jump?" Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I kind of, even though it's a kind of good reference to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Donkey Kong and shit, it's kind of cringe. It can be very cringe. That's what I'm just gonna say. And yeah, it's cartoonish. That's all I'll say. And I do like the animation bits because it can because Kamala Khan is such a creative person and she loves superheroes and all, which makes her so relatable, by the way, because everyone can relate to Miss Marvel in a way. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. But Miss Marvel, like the first few minutes of the first episode, she like created this little animation of the final Avengers Endgame battle. So she created her own like animation about it. I really do like them. They're kind of fun to look at and really cool. And yeah, so I kind of like the animation parts in the show. Now, if I'm not mistaken, oh wait, let me just change this up a bit. Okay, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure episode, I think actually, oh, fuck, I'm getting fucking mixed up with the episode. It's either at the end of episode 3 or 4 anyway, where we have our first, I think it's one of the first good fights of the movie. I mean, show, sorry. I think it might even be the first. It might even, actually, yeah, I think it is the first, actually. Oh, fuck. Oh, that's okay. But, oh well, Miss Marvel first has an encounter with damage control. So, but anyway, Miss Marvel has a fight with like some villains. Aisha, who wants the bangle because it's related to her family or some shit like that. And yeah, she has a battle with Aisha and her like family group thing. And the CGI looks pretty shit in it because there's a bit where Miss Marvel stretches her arm and it looks pretty shit. But yeah, the fight was actually pretty good if I'm being honest. And it was at the wedding, actually. That's when the fight happened, yeah. At the wedding. And then the bad guys get arrested for a few minutes. I mean, yeah, a few minutes basically. Miss Marvel goes to Pakistan. Yeah, so then Pakistan is when she meets the Red Daggers, so that's pretty cool. But first then Aisha kind of betrays one of her family members, Cameron, because we learned that Cameron is actually related to the bad guys. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. But yeah, so Miss Marvel is in Pakistan now, and she basically she's just there on holidays. Actually, no, she's just there to see her nanny, not holidays. I mean, I guess it's a holiday if you kind of. But she's there to see her nanny because she wants to ask more about the bangle, and yeah, and then we get that fight that I told you about with Miss Marvel and one of the Red Daggers. With that cringy Donkey Kong and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles dialogue. And then the bad guys come to Pakistan, kill one of the Red Daggers, and basically then, oh wait, fuck, I got, okay, just okay. But yeah, so then they fucking escape from the things, people, and then they find them again, and they create this like portal thing that will destroy the real world, but they don't. Well, the bad guys don't know that it will destroy the world. They don't think that they're going home, but it's actually going to destroy the real world. So Miss Marvel, well, actually, it's not actually really Miss Marvel that stops it. It's basically Aisha because she sees it's going to destroy the world, and then she just stops it. I'm pretty sure that happened all in episode 5. And yeah, and I'm not going to talk about the train bit because fuck it. But then it's actually kind of confusing who all the main villains are, because there's basically, if you think about it, there's basically 3 villains in this series, which is Aisha, Cameron at the end of the show, and Damage Control are basically kind of the main villains. Well, you know, Damage Control is just trying to do their job, but like, you know, yeah. But so I guess you can't really count them as villains, but still. So yeah, episode 6, which is my favorite episode of the show, is yeah, so what happens in that is she goes back to where she lives, Jersey, I'm pretty sure fucking is, I can't even fucking remember. But yeah, Jersey or some shit, and I forgot to mention also when Aisha closed the portal, if she like somehow give powers to Cameron similar to Miss Marvel's powers. So Cameron now has powers, and he goes to Bruno, and then the Damage Control finds them, and Damage Control chases Bruno and Cameron for a bit, and then the Kamala Khan family, the Khan family, I guess you could say, are home at Jersey, and then her family find out that she's the Nightlight Girl because, well, yeah, her name isn't Miss Marvel throughout all the show yet. Well, she gets the name Miss Marvel at the end of the show, but for now on, the public, like the community in the Marvel universe, is calling her Nightlight, and yeah. So yeah, so the family. I really liked the scene now in episode 6 because basically the family is concerned by for Kamala because they don't want her to just going out and fighting crime and all because she's putting her life in harm's way. So I really like that moment. I really love Kamala's like relationship with her parents and her brother, and even her brother's like wife. Like they even have a good relationship. But yeah, I really like the family in this show. It's really like nice. So they like in episode 6 they're like concerned for Kamala going out to be a superhero, but then they learn just to accept it, and they're very proud of her. And then this is when Kamala gets her iconic suit, because you're probably wondering what her suit was for all the show. And it's basically like a knockoff suit of Captain Marvel, because I forgot to mention Miss Marvel, or Kamala Khan, I should say, is a big fan of Captain Marvel, the superhero. And yeah, so she was wearing basically a cosplay Captain Marvel costume, basically all show long. And so yeah. And so yeah, she gets her iconic suit by her mother. Her mother like made it for her. And she goes out to see where Bruno and Cameron are to save them from Damage Control. And then all the family, not all the family, it's just her brother. Her brother and her friends and that popular TikTok girl that was saved from her from like episode 2 that we all forgot about is helping them, like, take out Damage Control. Well, not kill them, but like, Like, knocked them out, probably. I'm pretty sure they actually do. Some of them do get fucking killed because one of Kamala's friends is fucking, like, going through the PE hall, cycling on a bike, and she makes one of the guards shoot another one of his men. I don't think he's coming back from that, dude. So she basically just committed murder, even though it was her fault. Even though she didn't kill the dude, it was her fault that one of the damage control people got fucking shot. Oh my god. But yeah, so then they kind of, the villains for the rest of the show, I guess you could say, are Cameron and Damage Control. Cameron's a little small villain. He's not really much of a villain. He's not evil. Like, he's just like a little challenge, I guess you can say, for Kamala at one point. Because Cameron's kind of getting out of control with his powers, and he starts trying to kill all the Damage Control people. But of course, because Miss Marvel is obviously a fucking superhero, she tries to save the Damage Control people from being killed. So her and Cameron have a little bit of a fight for a bit. It's not much of a fight. It's just a little one, not that long at all. And so then she saves Cameron from being shot in the fucking face, and yeah, and then Kamala like gets Cameron out of safety somehow. She like she digs a hole for him, and he escapes through that hole, and then yeah, that's basically the end of the show. Everyone, they're about to arrest Miss Marvel because they think she's a villain that Damage Control people do, because that's why they're after her and Cameron. But the people really look up to Miss Marvel now, so they stand up for her. And I really love this scene. I watched this, you guys know that YouTuber Soups, right? He makes like Marvel content, DC content, like just superhero content in general, and sometimes not even superhero content. But he uploaded a short on his YouTube channel today saying that it was the only time we've really seen the people stand up for their hero in the MCU. And like he also said, we have seen this in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man 2, and we've seen this in Andrew's Amazing Spider-Man 2, where the people stand up for Spider-Man. And I really like this. We should see more of this in the MCU. So yeah, the people stand up for Miss Marvel so she doesn't get arrested. Then the end of the show, we have her dad talking to her and what her name means. Now this is one of my favorite scenes in the whole show, where her dad just have a moment to moment, like daughter to father moment. It's really sweet. I love it so much, so relatable. But yeah, so we learn that Kamala's name actually means perfect, and it also means Marvel, so that's why she gets the name Miss Marvel. And she's also freaking out because I said she's a big Captain Marvel fan. She's like, wait, I have the same name as Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, and then the dad's like, I don't know who that is, but I guess, yeah. She's like freaking out. She's like, oh fuck, oh my fucking god. It's really funny. And you see, that's what the name Kamala means, perfect. The reason they picked it also is because Kamala's dad and mom wanted to have a second child, so they thought they wouldn't be able to have one, and so they actually eventually did. So they just called her Kamala because she was the perfect second child. And then the last moment of the show, I guess, until the post-credit scene, I also forgot to mention Bruno, her best friend, is kind of crushing on her a little. Poor dude doesn't get a chance with her at all, because Cameron is in the fucking way. They even nearly kiss Cameron and Miss Marvel, and Bruno just walks in like, bro, we've been friends for years. Why are you doing this to me? And yeah, but this F in the chat for Bruno, bro. Fuck fuck Miss Marvel for just projecting Bruno. Okay, sorry. But then we have another one of my favorite scenes of the show is Bruno was looking into Miss Marvel's DNA or Kamala's DNA, and it turns out that she's what's the fucking thing called again? Fuck, I don't remember what it's called, but he finds out that her DNA is a mutant, and holy shit! So Miss Marvel is a mutant, and then we get a tease of the X-Men, guys. The X-Men, we get a teaser for the X-Men, because when Bruno says mutant, the X-Men team plays, the one from the 1997 TV show. The one, it goes like, oh, what's the fucking go like? It goes like, or something shit like that. I can't even fucking do it. But yeah, so the X-Men are now officially, I guess you could say, in the MCU. Like, we don't have Wolverines in there or not. We'll see. We've already seen Professor X in the MCU in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. But of course, if you've watched that movie, we all know how that ended. And even though he died in that movie, It doesn't mean that Professor X is actually dead, because it was just a variant of him. It wasn't like 616 Professor X. But yeah, so we find out that usually people are actually being pissed over Miss Marvel being a mutant, because usually in the comics she's an Inhuman, but Kevin Feige, the main person of Marvel, doesn't want the Inhumans really in his MCU because he doesn't really like them. And I know we've seen Black Bolt and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but Kevin Feige only wanted him for like a little cameo, because we all know how Black Bolt's story and Multiverse of Madness ended. No mouth. What? Okay. But yeah. So we find out that the mutants are now in the MCU, and Kamala Khan is basically the first of them that we know of at the moment. And then we get a post-credit scene, which is very hype, but it's also very confusing post-credit scene. It's Kamala's just lying on her bed, and then her bangle starts glowing, and then she just switches bodies with Captain Marvel, and yeah, so Captain Marvel is now in Kamala's room, and she's looking really confused because there's a bunch of Captain Marvel posters all over the place, and she's like, what the fuck? and then the whole show ends with writing on the screen saying that Miss Marvel will return in the Marvels, which is basically Captain Marvel 2. And yeah. And I really like that they're doing this, because people were saying that, I feel like people were saying like that Marvel has lost connection to other movies and shows, if that makes sense. And I'm really glad that they actually made it connected to the Captain Marvel 2 movie, the Marvels. So yeah, so I can't wait to see Miss Marvel in Captain Marvel 2 anyway. And then that's when the show ends. So I will give my total review of my total review of it now. So like I said at the start of the video, I was kind of bored with it sometimes, most of the times anyway, even though I did enjoy that last episode. That last episode was kind of peak, if I'm being honest. But I'm going to give this show a solid, I'm going to give it a solid 6.5 out of 10. And yeah, it wasn't my, I hate to say it, but it wasn't my favorite Marvel project of all time. But yeah, that's my review of Miss Marvel. My review of Obi-Wan Kenobi, if I don't forget, will come out today as well, sometime soon. So look forward to that. But this is my review for Miss Marvel, and you don't have to like or subscribe if you don't want to, or hit the little bell if you don't want to. But much appreciated. If you want to check out other stuff about me, it's Dustin. I have a TikTok, Dustin's Babysitter 15, and I also have a second channel on YouTube, Danny P2. So yeah, you can go check that out if you want to. But anyway, peace, guys. Have a nice day or night wherever you're.